I have few developers in my team, as you rightly said, and they always used to put Creator on the top of CRM and then say, hey, Shankar, I think we need to consider this. And I always used to challenge them as to why, why do we have to go to Creator when you have something out of the box and you do further small tweaks? It's a shame, I actually said no to them many times when they opted for Creator. I now repent.
Today we have a very special guest, Shankar, who is the founder and director at Systems Down Under, an organization based out of Australia, which helps small and medium businesses to adopt the right technology to automate and streamline the business processes. Did you have any challenges when you initially started your company?
At some stage, I was like, am I in the right place?
Before we talk about technology and business, I want to know how a boy who graduated from Osmania University, Hyderabad, has played major lead roles at different organizations, and today he's a founder and director at, Systems Down Under. Could you share more about, shed some light on your journey?
Yeah, I think it's a very long story, as you said. I migrated, not migrated, I actually moved from my own native place to Hyderabad to do my master's. Until bachelor's, I was more into technology, so pretty similar to what your story was. I know you told me your stories. I was more into becoming a developer myself. But in 2002, I think the IT was actually not that great. So I was like, maybe I should pick an option, get into marketing side. So I ended up doing my master's in business administration. I did my MBA from Osmania University. And then when I got my first job, I was always looking into the combination of IT and marketing, because obviously I have a bit of an IT knowledge, and obviously I had my master's in business administration. So that was my first choice. And luckily I got an opportunity to work for a company which is based out of Hyderabad. So my job was to do kind of selling outsourcing services, as well as selling some kind of an application tracking system that they had in place. So it used to be a complete night job because I had to sell it for the US clients and stuff. So it was not easy to start with. So I was actually looking for more options to see. And because you don't have a lot of options, right? So when you start your career, you have to stick to something and then you have to give your 100% and you don't have options basically to pick from. So that was my start. And then luckily I got an opportunity to get into a really big firm. It was obviously called Capgemini, but I actually joined a company called Canbay, which was acquired by Capgemini. So when I started with them, I was also into sales and marketing, predominantly again to the US region. But I got an opportunity to kind of work from afternoon till like 10 in the night, so which was not bad. So I kept my wife happy with that. And then slowly started progressing into multiple roles within Capgemini. So I started with sales and marketing. The best part about that job was I was an end user on CRM. So I was an end user for Salesforce. I'm sure you know Salesforce. So I was an end user with Salesforce, and I started using it and started realizing that it's a great tool. Like Salesforce is great. And then it started exploring to see how big a market Salesforce has got, and then learned Salesforce myself. And when I said learned Salesforce, I was just learning the administration side of Salesforce, like configuring it and adding a field, creating a workflow and stuff like that. And I quite enjoyed that journey. So that's when I was checking with the internal job postings to see if there is any kind of a role that kind of fits the knowledge that I've gained on my sales and marketing side, and also the knowledge that I've gained on Salesforce to kind of put it into play. So then I got an opportunity to join, again, Capgemini into a different role, which is more like a business analyst on CRM side. So, slowly progressing my career, right? And then started as a hardcore sales guy, ended up being a business analyst. And I know you asked me a question of how did I make my move and become an entrepreneur? So what happened after that is, until like 2015, I was still with Capgemini doing all these multiple roles. But at some stage, I was like, am I in the right place? Like maybe I have to move to a different country, I think. And then obviously you want a better lifestyle, you want a better career, better options and stuff like that. So I was like exploring options to see what are the countries that can accommodate my style, obviously the lifestyle that I wanted to lead. And Australia ticked most of the boxes. And then I thought, yeah, let's make that move. And then I applied for a permanent residency, which I got in no time and landed there. But it's still not the start of my entrepreneurship, right? So I landed there. It's amazing, God kind of designs your journey in a very good fashion. So when I migrated, my first job was to implement Salesforce for a real estate firm. So I picked it up and then I started to build it, right? I started to build it. The client was happy. It was in 2015. And then I was with them for about 3 years. We did the implementation for 1.5 years. And then I started to maintain the system. It's not a huge company, but it's a well-known company in Australia. So there were about 100 users across Australia, and we implemented Salesforce. They're pretty happy with what they got and stuff like that. But eventually in 2018, they said, Shankar, it's becoming too expensive. Salesforce is ridiculously expensive. So we were spending close to 200K just on subscription cost year on year. That was the cost that company, it's called Coin Handler. They were one of our first Zoho clients as well. I'll come to that story shortly. But they were on Salesforce for 3 years, 200K every year. On the top of it, they used to pay my full-time salary. So you can imagine how much it accumulates to. So they were like, can you look at other options for us? And then the first thing I did was I went out to the Gartner quadrant to pick, okay, what are the other CRMs in the market? I never heard of Zoho, by the way. I was like, what is this company Zoho? And then start to deep dive into it. What does it offer? And then I was surprised to see that Zoho offers not just CRM, but there are lots of bits and pieces that we can integrate on the top of the CRM to kind of enhance the functionality and like what they call as an operating system for your business. And then the fact that it's considered by Gartner. And then when I looked at the pricing, I was stunned because it's just $60 a month. Like I'm talking about Zoho One. And then I kind of positioned the same thing to the CEO of Coin Handler and then said, hey, if you compare cost to the cost, you're paying 200K for Salesforce. We can get it down to 15K, which is like 95% saving year on year. But you need to understand one thing. When something is cheap, people don't trust it. Like that happened with them. They're like, can we trust this? Is my data going to be safe? And then luckily we have the Gartner reports then. So I just pointed them to Gartner reports and said, hey, Gartner wouldn't consider Tom, Dick, and Harry's, right? So you have to be like, you have to be checking most of the boxes. Otherwise, Gartner wouldn't even consider you to put into one of their magic quadrants. And then that actually established that trust. They're pretty happy. And then we replicated everything that we did in Salesforce onto Zoho. I was not even an entrepreneur by then. You need to make a note of it. I just did that migration from Salesforce to Zoho, transitioned all the data across. It was quite a learning for me too, because I was comparing the features of Salesforce with Zoho. Okay, page layouts, record types in Salesforce. What do we call here? Layouts, okay. Custom formulas, okay, what functions have we got? So I was just trying to learn on the fly because that was my first implementation and I don't know about Zoho. So because I have a bit of a Salesforce knowledge, I was trying to relate all those things to see what is an equivalent of page layouts in Zoho. What's an equivalent of a workflow in Zoho? What do we have in there? That was how I learned Zoho and migrated everything across. It was quite a bit of a learning, I think it took me 3 to 4 months to do the whole implementation. Thank God the Zoho team helped me, especially with the data migration, because that's one of the bigger piece. Because Coin Handler had about 10 years of data. It's not easy, right? So we actually migrated the whole data across and the clients was pretty happy. That was the time it triggered an idea to my brain, like, okay, so we have done this implementation on Zoho. And then the best part about real estate is there's a lot of attrition. Like you might have 100 employees in an office today. Next day, 5 of them will leave and then start their own entity. So which means they become entrepreneurs themselves, which means they need technology themselves. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll focus on the real estate segment because in real estate, you have a firm in every street in Australia. So there are technologies, and because of the fact Zoho fits small and medium size, I thought I'll just focus on real estate to start with, and then this Coin Handler was our first implementation. In less than 3 years, we have done 300 implementations. It can be 1 user to 10 users. I don't care, but I'm really happy for the fact that we kind of took Zoho to every street, especially when it comes to real estate. And you can't believe even now, if someone goes and Google buyer's agent CRMs, we are ranked top on Google search. I haven't spent a single dollar on SEM and SEO. It's just because we've become so famous, which means Zoho is also equally famous, right? But that's how my entrepreneurship started. And we first did it at Coin Handler. That triggered an idea in my head that why don't I start my own company and just focus on one industry? That's what we do even now. We just cater to one industry because that gives us an opportunity to kind of build systems and also implement things quite quickly rather than tapping into every industry and then, kind of increasing your development cycles. We just focus on one industry, try to bombard and get more business into that industry and take it from there. I know it's a very long answer, but that's how my entrepreneurship started. And here we are. We have a team of 8 people. I'm the only one in Australia now. We're trying to ramp up there as well because it has become really hard to, call clients, do the POCs, go meet them. So I'm doing a lot of heavy lifting from there. But the idea is to hire more people so they can help you from there. But we have 8 people. They all work from home. That's another best part. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from the CEO of Zoho himself, the way he drives it and the way I do the same thing. I give job opportunities to people who never thought of becoming or getting into IT. That's the first thing I do, tap into those kind of people and then give them an opportunity to learn because I feel that they're more honest and they give 100% back because we gave them an opportunity once to get into something like this. So that's the overall thought process, and that's how we are here now.
That's really awesome to hear your story, Shankar, because when I came across Zoho as a company also, right? I like the first thing that popped up in my mind was like the Zoho CRM software, because Gartner analyst reports, all these kind of reports play a huge role, especially for small and medium businesses, because they have to take right steps at the right time. They can't risk a chance, right? So especially analyst companies like this guide us to pick up the right technology and go forward. As you spoke about your transition from, being a corporate job, like employee at a corporate job, then going forward to become an entrepreneur, did you have any challenges when you initially started your company, or like were there any typical learnings which you would like to share it to our audience?
Yeah, no, I think definitely yes. It's as an entrepreneur, you always want to keep your money close to your chest. Because when you get started, you have a lot of costs to incur, and at the same time, you're trying to generate more business. So you have to be very careful where you're spending your money, right? So I think that's very, very important. Those were the initial hurdles to start with because I couldn't invest a lot of money into marketing. And then I was also trying to do all my stuff myself. And with the help of Zoho's customer care, I was trying to build some functions myself. And I didn't hire anyone to start with. I was onboarding clients, but at the same time, I was not hiring anyone else until such time. A very good person that I know, he and I having a casual chat. And then he said, Shankar, I've heard that you own a business. I said, yeah, I'm the only one in the team. I do my sales. I do my own development, like not hard coding. I used to take help of Zoho customer care to build the custom codes, but pretty much configuring most of the stuff. But the bottom line is I never had anyone else apart from me in the team. So I was doing everything from sales to doing the POCs to delivering to the clients, training the staff and everything end to end. I'm like, okay, this is going well. Why should I have someone, or why should I invest into marketing, right? So the one thing that I wanted to tell people who wants to start their own businesses is to make sure that your business runs even when you're at beach. This is one big suggestion I got. He asked me that question, that friend I was saying, Shankar, does your business run when you're at beach for a day or two? I'm like, no, I have to be there in front of a machine all the time. Then he said, no, you don't have a business. You bought yourself another job. Wow. It's amazing. That's true. Like I have to be at my beach. Like I'm here with you. I should still have some revenue coming into my stream. It has to be on autopilot in some way. That's when I realized the only way you can generate more money is having more time. You obviously only have 24 hours. Then I thought, how do you get more time? By hiring more people. So I started hiring people, the right people, obviously. And then now we have 8 staff members. And now I have my time for my cricket. I have time to take kids for swimming. It doesn't mean I don't want to work. It means that I want to have that balance in life. So if I have to give some suggestion to people who wants to start their own business is yes, to start with, I know you will have those set budget and then you want to operate within that budget, but you also have to understand that you grow only when you invest into your business. If you're thinking of not investing into it and thinking of growing, it's not going to happen. So yes, don't try to keep your money close to your chest. You still have to pump some money back to your business to get it back tenfold. And I strongly believe in that.
That's a very insightful answer, right? Especially to entrepreneurs out there who risk to have employees and pay them on. That is something which we feel like, like how your friend said, it was very clear. Like business never sleeps, neither does the money. So it's a very popular saying which goes by with this line. So coming as you shed some light on, your journey here, I feel like when you started Systems Down Under, you could have become a partner for any organization. There are multiple organizations out there. Definitely your love for Zoho came around when you implemented it for one of your clients in your existing organization. And that helped you gain the love for the CRM. How has your partner journey been so far? Has it been fruitful, or has it been like there have been challenges in this journey as well?
There are some hiccups. It's again, why I picked Zoho. I could have actually ended up with anyone else, to answer your question. I think I'm lucky. I should say I'm lucky because I didn't have any kind of favorism towards Zoho when I started. It just ended up being one of those products that I shortlisted for a client. And then when you start to deep dive and then when you start to implement for customers, you started realizing the benefit it reaps, not only for them, but for you too. First of all, it was so lucky that I bumped into Zoho. I could have actually, as you rightly said, I could have bumped into anything else. I think it's because I was in Salesforce, I was trying to find a very close match as to what fits into that Salesforce model. And also in terms of the support that I've been getting, amazing. Sometimes I don't know who to reach out to. Again, it's only because Zoho has so many products. Sometimes we get lost as to who to reach out. And I always used to bug my, account manager at Zoho because he's like, Shankar, you have to reach out to them, not to me. But I keep telling him that, no, you're the only one I know. I know you're the only one who picks my call. So, but they have been quite supportive. I think I had about 4 or 5 people so far, obviously Prax. I think we had Anand or someone before that. And then now he's Tilak in Sydney. They've been very supportive and they always, I keep meeting them once in a while. And even Tilak's team, they keep referring us leads. And we have gone to a stage where they started trusting us more. And then thank God that Zoho has changed the way they kind of display all the partners. I always repent the fact that my company name starts with S because we were like ranked somewhere low, like they alphabetically, they used to list the partners. And now they've changed that because obviously a lot of partners complained about it. And then they are ranking based on the performance. And then we are like one of the top 2 or 3 in Australia now, which are fastest growing and stuff like that, which is giving us a lot of advantage because a lot of people reach out to us by going to the partner page. And also the team, Tilak and team also started trusting us more and that we are giving the right solutions to the clients. And then off late, we're getting a lot of leads through them as well. So I think overall, it's been a very productive and collaborative approach between us as partners and Zoho overall. I think it's amazing.
Great. So it's really awesome to hear how much you love Zoho and how well you value, the amount you invest in. Spilling a bit of secret to our audience, we have recently heard that you participated in Zoho Creator Partner Hackathon.
Yeah.
And you guys did an amazing job, and your app won as one of the best apps from Australia region. So you come from a non-developer background. I want to know, how did you come across the creator and your experience with the competition which went on recently, and can you shed some light on that?
Absolutely, yes. I think I did mention to you this before, but we have always been a CRM shop. We always used to rely on CRM as our go-to from the suite of products that Zoho offers. And even when I sell it to the clients, I used to say, hey, CRM is the crux, and then we build all the rest of the apps around it. And then I have few developers in my team, as you rightly said, and they always used to put Creator on the top of CRM and then say, hey, Shankar, I think we need to consider this. And I always used to challenge them as to why, why do we have to go to Creator when you have something out of the box and you do further small tweaks? I think it's also because of the type of clients that we bumped into initially, right? So for them, it's more like automating the sales process and a bit of an operational process, which CRM could pretty much manage. But when you have these complex operational clients, is when you start to see other options. I think that has been the trend of late. We started tapping into industries where the operational process is really complex, which CRM pretty much can't handle. I got an email. When I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe an opportunity for us to showcase to Zoho as to, and then trust me, I didn't expect us to be ranked number one, but coming back to your point, it was like, let's see, and then let's pick an industry. Because more about how good developers we are, it's also about what problem we are solving. That's what we focused. That was my brainchild, right? So I was like, what is the problem statement? Which industry can we handle, or which industry can we help, so that we kind of build something to manage their operational process. And then I was like looking into, okay, do we do field service? Because there are a lot of tradies in Australia. And then I've recently built a house, and then I was looking at a skip bin, and I was talking to a skip bin guy who delivered that bin at my site, just to dump the stuff. And then he said, I was checking with him, how do you manage all this? Then when he put the bin there, he was taking a picture on his mobile phone. And then I asked him, what are you doing? I'm taking a picture because I have to send this to my admin team, and they will attach it in an email and send it to the client that they've delivered the bin. So I was like, oh, you don't have any application to manage this? He was like, obviously, he being a non-IT guy, what do you mean by an application? So is it on manual? He said, yes. So how do you know that a job has been assigned to you to pick a bin and drop at some site? It's like, oh, the admin team calls me and then they just text me an address of the place where I have to drop. Then it clicked an idea. Okay, we have hackathon coming and we have quite a good need here. And then we started deep diving, interviewing a lot of skip bin companies to see what their operational process is going to look like. And coming back to my involvement in this overall project, you're right, I'm not someone who can sit and code. But I and one of my team members, Anjani, we are really good at brainstorming and coming up with a solution. It's equally important you solution this well. Because if you solution it wrongly, your developer is going to build it wrongly. So we made sure we put that solution right. So it caters to most of the use cases that the skip bin companies bump into on a daily basis, and then kind of attaching them, gluing them together to look like one solution. And obviously Satish played a very key role in understanding it. Yes, we had some difficulties making him understand sometimes as to what we think. As you know, there's always a gap between the developer and then the solution architect, right? So the developers never understand what the solution architect thinks. There were some hard times to make him understand, but we eventually did. And then here we are, we are so glad that we are picked number one in Australia. I mean, never ever expected this, trust me, but I'm pretty happy about the outcome.
Great. So you were a partner who were clearly more focused to real estate, real estate industry.
Yeah.
And then when this particular competition came around and you thought you should try out a new industry.
Yeah.
So definitely you would have implemented this for one of the customers out there. Like any interesting use case around that? Did you come across a customer who really had the need for a software like, application like Zoho Creator. How did you take that up?
After having implemented implemented a couple of projects on Create, and when I started, because obviously my team can't bypass me, my team can't override what I say, it's a shame, I actually said no to them many times when they opted for Creator. I now absolutely repent about it. But now that I tasted what Creator is like. Every solution, every project that we onboard, we are actually giving importance to Creator as well when compared to the CRM to see, does this make sense? Because I know this is quite scalable. If you build something on CRM, chances are that you might get stuck at some stage when you try to scale the systems. But I know on Creator, you have every opportunity to scale it to an extent that you want. So that actually is putting Creator on the top for me now, so that every project that we onboard, even if we think CRM is the best fit now, we are still going ahead with Creator because this has higher probability of, bettering itself at some stage, or if we have to do additional stuff. And in terms of new clients and stuff, yes, we are tapping into education and migration industries. And we have quite a big plans for Creator this year, and I'm really hoping that the Creator team, gives us a helping hand there to go to the market and target. Again, as I said, I don't want to get into multiple industries, and that's not my approach. And because it worked really well for me in the past, I only want to tap into 2 new industries in 2024, bombard that industry, maybe get 100 clients in each, done. I'm pretty happy. Not only me, Zoho would also be happy. And then what that gives us an edge also for Zoho is when it comes to an app in that industry, we will be ranked number 1, which is amazing. As I said, if you go Google Buyer's Agent Accelerator, we are ranked 1, which means Zoho is ranked 1 for buyer's agents, which is like real estate agents, right? So which shows to prove that it's very important we tap into an industry and stick to that industry, market to that industry, which is much easier. One is because we as sales guys can speak their jargon. Like if I can speak now skipping jargon, I can speak the real estate jargon, then you get connected to the clients quite quickly, because clients don't understand technology. They understand a problem. If you empathize with them, if you speak their problem in their jargon, they get connected to you. Once you get connected, it's easy to sell Zoho into it. That's the approach we take, and that's the reason why we only tap into 1 or 2 industries to start with, and then we keep moving on. Like we tapped into real estate, now we are into skip bins. We want to tap into migration and education. And then I also have a big plans for not-for-profits, not just because it has money, it's also because we make a difference in not-for-profit industry. Like especially Australia has a lot of not-for-profit clients, like kids with autism, they need technology. And not many clients have it. If it's like a contribution back to the society, as well as we make some decent money on it. So we want to tap into that. And obviously I need Zoho support on that as well.
Great to hear about that. So coming to the low code again, like how Zoho Creator is empowering diverse business personas to, build applications. What is your take on low code? Do you see this technology going a way forward in the coming days, or how is it? Do you think like it would be adaptable to the traditional developers out there? Just a non-developer insight on that would help us.
Yeah. One thing for sure is with low code, the development cycles are pretty small. If the clients want something, if you can just turn around in no time, clients would love that fact. That's as a non-developer, that's a great benefit that I see. When I sell something to the client, and then the first question they ask is, Shankar, how soon can you turn around, and how soon can you implement something like this for us? And then the fact that Zoho, obviously with the help of Creator, it's a no-code platform, and I don't even have to check with my developers to see how much time it's going to take. I'm pretty confident that most of the projects that we do, we can just turn around 3 to 4 weeks, which is amazing. So that's one great value that I see, that the turnaround times or the development cycles are pretty low. And the other big thing that I see is, as you rightly said, I sometimes start to learn Creator myself, and it's not rocket science, right? So people like you did MBA too, and I did MBA. So we're not from technology backgrounds. For us to learn something like that is amazing. It's not just that we want to sit and code. It's just that sometimes when you put that solution, when I try to solution, if I learn coding as well, I also can effort estimate as to how much time it takes. And maybe I wanted to just skim through the code that my developer has written just to see if there are any bugs or how well has he written it. So it's always good as a solution architect or someone who is trying to solution a problem to see, to learn a language, not just because you have to sit and code, just because you can estimate the effort, just because you can scan the code to see how good they have written it. And also, if need be, you never know, sometimes you might be operating lean and, you have a lot of projects to deal with. And people like us, if you can just sit back and code a bit, it's going to come handy anyways. So I think those are the two reasons why I love low code platforms, and Creator obviously stands out pretty much.
Great. Awesome. So talking about business, technology, money and whatnot. So apart from enjoying, visiting a beach, what do you like to do at your free time?
A lot of things. Obviously, on a weekday, I don't get the time to manage. I pretty much work from home, which is amazing. Which gives me equal opportunity to see my kids. Of course, it's a different story. My wife doesn't like the fact I work from home because she keeps seeing my face every day. Apart from that, it gives me opportunities to spend time with kids. And in Australia or anywhere across the globe, you don't have that luxury of, an auto wala coming and picking your kids and dropping to school or taking them to tuitions, because you have to do pretty much those things yourself. So most of the time is gone into dropping them for swimming or taking them to, somewhere or this and that. So, but on a weekend, I love to play cricket. Both my son and I, big time into cricket. If you open my car boot, you always see a couple of kids in there, one for me, one for my son. And I'm big time into it. But yeah, obviously, like any other Australian, I like beer, obviously. And I like summers. So thank God it's summer there in Australia. I can't wait to go back home. And the holiday season coming up. So it's going to be fun. So I think if you want me to rate, number one, obviously cricket. And then a lot of beaches. So it's good to go and then spend quality time with family.
Got it. So, okay, let's do this, a small activity kind of a thing. Where I'm going to ask you this or that, and you're going to choose one thing quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with 3, 2, 1. Night person or a morning person?
Night person.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Swimming or cricket?
Cricket.
What about Zoho One or Zoho Creator?
Tough ask. Oh, Zoho One.
That's interesting.
I don't want to impress you.
Okay, great. Coming to the this thing, you said you are more into work from home thing. Do you like working from home or working from office?
Like anyone would think, it's good to work from home, but you get, like, it feels nice when you go back to office, right? You bump into people, you have a chat. It's not just all about working. You need to have that social conversations, and for you to be mentally fit, you need that. I think that's what we keep missing. And then that is why I have plans to kind of maybe go sometimes back to office and work from there. But just because of the family commitment, sometimes you stick to what you have to do than what you like to do. I always like to go to office and work from there. But now that things are back to normal, I think I'll get into a habit of maybe going back 3 days to office and 2 days at home. But short answer, I love to go to office and work from there. Because you always have that hard stop, like if you're if I'm at home and I keep working till like 8 or 9 in the night because my team still works here, then it feels like I'm working from 9 in the morning till 9 in the night. But if you're working from office, you just have a stop, 5 o'clock, you shut down your laptop, go back home. So you're like disconnected from your work. lot of advantages working from office.
Awesome. So, ending this overall podcast with one final question, maybe where you said, you took your journey by being a person who was working at a corporate job, and then it was consuming a lot of time for you. You couldn't give time to your family and stuff. Then you moved. Then you took slowly to your entrepreneur journey. Do you have any thought to share to those people, especially the entrepreneurs who graduate directly from college? Do you have any thought to share with them? Do you feel like, okay, you should first get into a corporate job, learn how the things work out there, and then become an entrepreneur journey? Or how is it? How do you take that angle forward?
I would rather have them work somewhere, obviously everyone has a different opinion on this topic, but I would rather have them work. Even if you look at big guns, they're like all the big businessmen, they have their kids go work somewhere else before they kind of, leave the company that they own. It's because it's always good. You learn the hard way, if everything comes to you naturally, if everything comes to you, you don't appreciate it. So if you learn the hard way, you remember it forever. So I think it's always good to go work for someone else, learn how things happen at the ground level before you lead something. Leading is quite easy, if you know how to manage people and how to get some business done, you can do it. But it's important you know what happens at that level, because if you know what's happening at the ground level, you treat them well. Treating your employees obviously is the best important thing in life. If you are one among them at some stage, you know what it takes to become or what it takes to be at that level, and then you can treat them well. So I think it's very important they work somewhere and then get started.
Do you have any business inspiration, like an idol or inspiration, someone like Steve Jobs or like other big industry experts out there? Do you see them as a inspiration, and then you be like, if I had to take a decision, like you face a challenge right now, and then you think like, I usually, whenever I come into a challenge, I usually take a person as an inspiration and be like, okay, if I have to make a decision, what would this particular person do? Do you look after someone like that?
Not really. I get inspired by people. Like, as I said, when I think I forgot to mention this, when I was working at that real estate firm, the boss that I reported into was 10 years younger than me. I was like, how come he is an entrepreneur? I'm like just working for him, right? So, and then when in Australia, there are a lot of entrepreneurs. If every household has one business, for sure. So you have so many small and medium-sized companies, right? So I always used to get the inspiration from me that they used to drive amazing cars, at an age 10 years younger than me. And then it's like, how come? It's just because they believed in something and they did it. One thing that if you have an option, it's typical Indian mindset. We always go with a safer option. They keep saying, right? If we get $100 every month on recurring thing, and if you have 5,000 rupees here, an Indian mindset would pick, $100, because it's like you go with the salaried approach of, getting recurring thing, but you don't realize that with that 5,000, you invest in a business, you can get $500 every month and you can thump it back and then you can make more. So that's the kind of mindset even I grew up with. So when I started observing these people, I then realized the fact that, if you have to be rich, if you have to be at a certain level, you can't do that with a job. You have to be a business owner. And then that triggered an idea in my mind. And the only other thing I thought is, I was thinking, should I do a full-time job and then also run a business? Because in Australia, you can do it. Unlike here, you can run a full-time job and then still, if you have options, you only give 10%. If you don't have an option, you give 150%. So I thought, I'm the only earner in my family and my wife doesn't work. So if I quit, I don't have an option. I have to make this business work somehow. Otherwise, I can't survive. I can't pay my mortgage. So I quit my full-time job, got into this. Of course, Zoho helped me do that. And then here we are, right? So that's what I think. If you don't have an option, human being knows how to make it happen.
That's a wonderful lesson. Thank you so much for sharing that, Shankar. So ending this podcast, like you have been a Zoho fanboy since the start. So any advice or any one single thought you would like to share to people who want to become a Zoho partner in the future?
Yeah, I think it's not easy anymore. I still remember in 2018, I was interviewed for a partnership with Zoho. And I think it was pretty straightforward. I know after the interview, I'm going to get it, because obviously it also depends on the country that you're coming from. Australia doesn't have so many partners at that stage. So even though I was just one person, they kind of accounted that I had some Salesforce experience. I did tell them very clearly that I don't have pretty much Zoho experience, but I have Salesforce experience and I can replicate that in Zoho. So it was relatively easier then. And I know it's not easy anymore. There's a lot of scrutiny that happens whether someone fits into that model. But if I have to give an advice, I think it is one thing that I didn't do to start with is maintaining that relationship with people in Zoho. I always used to operate silos, just do my job, sell Zoho, get my commission, do my implementation, just head back home. But one thing, if you want to grow exponentially, I think one important thing to note is to maintain that relationship with people in Zoho, because you not only get to know new things, you open up your ideas. If you what you only get to know from others. So if you talk to people in Zoho, you get more ideas, more thoughts, more innovations, and see what else you can do in the ecosystem to increase the scope of services that you do as a partner. So I think that's the most important thing, not only sticking to what you do, but also seeing what other options we got in Zoho. We've learned a lot, for example, today in the sessions, right? So I've learned myself a lot. So now I'm going to take this back home and then see where can I apply all these different bits and pieces to my clients. So I think that's very important. Maintaining that relationship with Zoho team, and then learning to know the point of contacts for every product that Zoho has, so you can obviously help clients as well. But otherwise, Zoho has been amazing, has given amazing support. If you end up being a partner for Zoho, you're so lucky. So might as well continue that and keep kicking in some revenue, to become a top tier.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shankar, for sharing us your journey from being a person who worked at a corporate job, then moving into taking up your entrepreneur journey, sharing about your journey with Zoho, how did you come across it, and then being a wonderful partner to us for sure. We can rely on you whenever we need anything in Australia, and also we're looking for other things around that area. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope the session will be loved by our audience again, and we request our audience to stay tuned for more such sessions, and we'll come back with you.